Hello, EKN Nation. We are back to cap off our coverage of this year's ROK Vegas 2025. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. Episode 158 of the Debrief as we cap off our EKN trackside coverage from the event at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. It is Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. Today's show is being brought to you by Sodi Racing USA. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Sodi Kart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to a new exclusive importer, the karting distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Sodi Kart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Sodi Kart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry. All right, David Cole, let's bring you in here. A long week in Las Vegas. You were there for 6 days? You and I both had long, extended, delay-ridden trips home yesterday. We're back at it here. As we know, we turn the corner, and really after we wrap up this podcast, focusing then on the Super Nationals, which is coming up in just over a week, on track in 8 days. But yeah, how you feel after a long weekend in Las Vegas?
Yeah, we're already on that stuff. Yeah, it's quite interesting. We've never really done the double like this.
No, right.
So yeah, I feel like I typically do after the Super Nats. So
trying to adjust hard and put away wet.
Yeah, and travel delays didn't help yesterday, so put that to bed. It allowed me to work from the airport, so I guess that was nice. So I got a bunch of stuff done,
and a new Buddy's Pizza at the airport too.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was a game changer. If I wouldn't have had that, I probably would have been really, really upset. But so today mentally, I'm overwhelmed with the amount of work that is going on right now. Yeah. But happy of the Buddy's Pizza for sure. Not necessarily the same you get at the restaurant, but again, it's still one of the best pizzas to have, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm a big Detroit style. You know that. And Buddy's is obviously the originator of the Detroit style pizza. So I was happy to see you have that at the Detroit airport during your extended layover. Finally got home. I'm not sure what time you actually rolled in. I think I rolled in at home at 1:30 in the morning. So long travel day for me as well. But I know you're beat up. You were busting your tail while I was in that icebox of a broadcast booth all weekend long. You were busting your tail, as always, with all the coverage. I will say this, David. Perfect weather all week. It was cold where I was, but outside, man, low 80s, sunshine all weekend long.
It's funny. I look back at last year's ROK Vegas broadcast, and everybody was bundled up, shivering because of high winds and cold temperatures. So it was really the complete opposite. It was actually warmer than any other Vegas event in the fall season that I've been to,
no doubt,
or recall. Especially previous events out the Rio or anywhere else in Las Vegas. So the weather was certainly warm all weekend. Being in the shade was probably the best opportunity. But again, no issues whatsoever. No winds either as well too. So that was one of the major things. We never had to worry about any barrier issues or 10 issues all weekend long. So
8th edition of the event, the ROK Vegas. It's been called ROK the Rio before. There's been other names for the event itself, but ROK Vegas, again, 8th edition of the event, all but one of them at the Rio Hotel and Casino. I heard me in the intro fall back on the All Suite Hotel and Casino, no longer. Been saying that for so many years. Mm-hmm. So the Rio Hotel and Casino, Las Vegas. It was at Planet Hollywood back in 2021. The event, of course, October 29th to September the 1st. Over the Halloween night. Let's have a look at by the numbers, David, because great numbers this year. For the first time in a couple of years, over 300, setting in at 301. You got to go back to 22 when it was 355. But across the board, just some great numbers. As we know, Micros had 31. Mini had 23. VLR Junior and VLR Senior with those LCQs, 52 for the junior category, 61 for VLR Senior. And that was a lot of fun to watch all weekend long.
Yeah, we had 304 as the number going into the weekend for the debrief, but so a number of cancellations. They did have some walk-ups, so it could have got increased more, but the cancellations kind of changed that. We also had some drivers substituting, some drivers moving to going from junior to senior as well. So again, the numbers kind of shifted around, but still over that 300 mark overall for the fourth time now in the 8-year history of the event.
Yeah, and obviously the addition of the 45 years of age and older Supermasters category drew a lot of people to those Masters classes. VLR, 16 in Masters, 18 in Supermasters, so 34 in total in that category. And the shifter car category as well, where it might have been just 4 in the Master shifter class. The Supermasters actually were kind of the dominant factor. There was 8 Supermasters drivers in shifter 45 years of age and older, so that gave us a 12-cart grid, which was awesome. Matched that of Pro Shifter at 12, the lowest mark of Pro Shifter in the 8-year history of the event. But that's kind of, part and parcel in the evolution of gearbox karting here in North America right now, where we had big ROK numbers the last couple of years, 54 back a number of years ago at ROK Vegas. But then with, kind of the move to the KZ, a lot of guys have leaned away from the ROK Shifter, which is a shame. It's such a great package.
It truly is, yeah, and we saw good racing in the shifter kart categories for sure, all 3 of them. So gives very good parity. Pretty much comes down to the driver. So that's what we saw. Obviously the Supermaster and Master could have been combined. You didn't really necessarily need to split it, with the Supermasters guys actually showing the way for most of the weekend. So. But other than that, the new categories added, obviously the SV Pro category, bringing in 49 drivers. So we had 1 cancellation there. We actually had a driver swap as well too. So that was kind of the headline category. Obviously, 49 drivers on track provided a lot of excitement, and that being the last class in the order each day as well.
Yeah, big finish as well, of course. All right, let's we got things underway. So let's go to our first quick break here. Again, this is episode 158 of the EKN Debrief. Myself, Rob Howden, and Dave McCole will dive into this past weekend's ROK Vegas event out at the Rio Hotel. After this commercial break, we'll come back with the Paddock Pass. Parolin is among the winningest brands in the USA and around the world. The Parolin Le Mans full-size chassis for junior and senior classes and the Parolin Opportunity model for cadet divisions have earned success weekend after weekend at all the major championships and events in both the USA and throughout Europe. The Parolin chassis lineup also includes the Invader shifter, along with the Daytona 4-cycle chassis and the Delfino Kid Kart. Karters can head to the ParolinUSA.com website, where the entire chassis line and parts are available to you, with shipping available all across North America. Parolin USA partners with several companies and race teams across the country to provide a strong dealer network to represent the brand locally and at the national level to support drivers throughout North America. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. Ignite Karting utilizes the spec Margay Ignite K3 chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and the Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the rookie, junior, senior, heavy, and masters classes compete on the same Ignite K3 chassis, which puts all the emphasis squarely on driver development. Additionally, Ignite Karting is accessible at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for the season include the Ignite Majors that begin with the annual trip to the Daytona International Speedway as part of the WKA Daytona Kart Week, running in both the sprint and road racing events. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regionally based Ignite Challenge, featuring 5 iconic facilities. Local club programs have also been established in states all across the country, Idaho to Texas, Nebraska to New York, with more tracks and clubs joining the Ignite Karting program. Be part of fast, fun, and great memories with Margay Racing at an Ignite track near you. All information on Ignite events and Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and onto the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Welcome back to episode number 158 of the Debrief, as we are diving into our final component of the EKN trackside coverage of this year's ROK Vegas event at the Rio Hotel and Casino, Las Vegas. Our Paddock Pass brought to you today by Comet Kart Sales. History, success, family. These are the three words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside Indianapolis and has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in their near 6 decades of business. Their brand new updated online store features everything you need, and they are continually adding new parts to their product line. Make sure you head to cometkartsales.com or call them at 317-462-3413. Be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. All right, David Cole, you were trackside on Tuesday. I rolled in very late, another delay. I rolled in super late on Thursday evening to be there for the broadcast in the morning. But man, you were pounding the pavement again on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to provide all our information for the Paddock Insider, or the Paddock Pass, as we call it here in the show.
Yeah, her name is Rio. That's the first topic.
You're not gonna sing it?
What's that? No, my voice is terrible right now. There's no reason for me to sing. I mean, I could be Barry White.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do the Barry White version. So yeah, it was great to be, again, for us, e-karting news. It was great to be back at the Rio for the first time since the Super Nats was there in 2021. Two. Yes. Yeah. So, and again, the track layout was kind of adjusted from what they published due to, obviously, the pavement that has been there since the 1800s.
Right.
But ironically, that was kind of the feedback early on, was, what is this racetrack like? And a lot of people were happy with it. Wide enough, had multiple passing opportunities, so that was good. But it was also smooth, so they avoided all the major situations regarding the roughness of that 200-year-old pavement. But so that was kind of the focus of that segment. And obviously that was practice. Practice is one thing, racing is another. So we'll kind of wrap up the track layout and that in our wrap up. But overall, there was a lot of positivity, both just the way ROK was handling things, moving in the format and everything like that, but also the track build as well too.
Well, when you posted that link up on social, obviously, as you do to post all the insider segments you do, you threw the picture up of the Rio, and I immediately flashed back, not even when I raced the Super Nats in 2022, but literally when we came out from the Las Vegas Karting Center in 2002, that first trip for the Super Nationals, to come from a purpose-built kart track out in the desert to the Rio. I flashed back to 2002, 23 years ago. And so many races, of course, have been held on that particular track, that 200-year-old asphalt, as you said. Just amazing. So that really caught me to kind of kick things off. It was a great way to kick off your insider coverage. And again, there was lots to cover. There are some races where there's really not a lot going on, and you got to find a story, but there was lots lined up for this particular weekend.
Yeah, and I believe one of your announcing partners was just born that year.
Yeah. Jackson Lambros was born in 2002. I think he was like 5 months old probably when I was out there announcing my race.
You were right, Rob. There were a lot of storylines to kind of cover. We actually missed on a few too that we'll probably get into for our next trip to Vegas. But the weekend was kind of the focus of the debut for the ROK SV Pro category at the event. 50 drivers were originally lined up. So again, the out of the box racing a new engine package that nobody has ever raced before. Vortex, all their factory people here on hand to make sure everything went smoothly. Tuesday was the actual raffle day of it. So got to see everybody waiting in line to get their engine. And then at that time, they would all take them back and mount to their carts. We had a video on YouTube and social media where you can see Brandon Jarzakrak Racing putting together Paulie Massimino's ride.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But again, and then once practice got going, what did everybody think about it? A lot of good feedback. The thought was it was going to be better or quicker than, say, the GP or the X30, and everybody was saying, no, it's very comparable.
Yeah.
It has different characteristics, obviously, being built differently than the X30, but it was very similar in terms of power. It just had a different kind of power band and good bottom end as well, too. So that was kind of the original feedback. And again, we saw Some drivers struggling a little bit with the engine they received. Some drivers were really happy with what they got. There was obviously the adjusting of the carburetor on track. That was something that some drivers are probably not even familiar with or don't even touch. I think that was a major component. But also finding the right gearing. Drivers, especially in the first day, were jumping all over around trying to find what was a good gearing.
Yeah.
The actual gear that they gave them on the clutch wasn't what pretty much everybody was running. Everybody was switching. So that was kind of the change there for a lot of the competitors, was getting that right drive gear to be able to get the most power out of the engine.
Couple other notes as we follow out of the information from the ROK SV Pro was first and foremost, we'll go Ryan Norberg, we'll go a couple of RPG drivers, then we'll talk about a driver who joined late after one driver wasn't able to get trackside. Let's start with Ryan Norberg, David, making his GFC debut.
Yeah, I got to speak with Ryan on Tuesday and, of course, Wednesday as well, as he was making his debut with GFC Karting. Obviously, a long tenure with Rawlison Performance Group, and that came to a close in the last month or so. I can't even remember when that was announced. But yeah, this was his first official racing event with GFC, racing on the SV in the SV category. And it was funny talking with him. He really hadn't had the opportunity to kind of reflect on where he is right now because of, one, the birth of his first child, two, getting his Norberg Karting Academy program up and running with the whole full GFC brand, going to California, working with GFC and Formula Works and other teams in some of the recent weeks for events that were in California. So kind of a whirlwind for him in terms of mentally. So there really hasn't been that kind of reflection or where he's at and kind of this and that, because he's been too busy. So he was certainly looking forward to it. Obviously the SV power plant was the kind of question mark. He did kind of struggle with the practice motor he had, got a little bit better once they got into the heat races, but qualifying was so important for all the categories, really, but especially in the SV Pro, where passing was very much difficult. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but it seemed like they weren't really driving like pros. So,
well, and also, David, like you had mentioned to me once I got there, was the fact that the tire took a long time to come in as well. So if you when I talked to Ryan, he said he literally when he was getting to those 12, 13, 14 laps in that session, he got checked up. He got caught up behind a bunch of guys that were not so much blocking, but were kind of making moves on guys during qualifying, and he just wasn't able to get a clean lap.
Yeah, and then again, his tire, he's not really raced a lot. I'm assuming he's probably used a bunch in Orlando, being when he was on the OTK side of things.
Yeah.
But again, it's definitely a unique tire that is not very similar characteristics to what everybody uses throughout the year. So I think that's one of the things as well too, was getting used to that effect. But overall, yeah, Norberg in the black and white of GFC colors has made its new era.
Yeah. Speaking of new era, a couple of young kids coming up, two of the big, of course, top juniors in the sport, Alexander Vanchev and oh my God, help me out.
Turner Brown.
I literally went, turn around. I actually talked to Turner about it. They made their move up into senior for the first time from junior. And Turner said one of the cool things was here I am racing side by side with all these guys I've been watching for the last couple of years. It was, we got into the, what was it like wheeling, trying to get respect out there. But this, the first thing he said was, it's just so cool to be racing against all the guys I've been watching, right? It's when you step up into the big show, you become the show, which I think was cool for both Alexander and Turner.
Yeah, Alexander said the same thing. Again, he had probably one of the best junior years in karting in 2025. So he's making that transition, moving up. And it's, being in the same team with another driver doing the same, it definitely certainly helps. You're sitting down looking at data videos together with Martin Kremers and Bonner Moulton and the coaches throughout the RPG tent. So that was kind of the focal point, especially for RPG, with the absence of Ryan Norberg now. So Vanchev and Brown could be the next guys to kind of carry the torch until probably moving to cars
eventually
in the near future. So it could be next year or 2 years from now, who knows? But yeah, that was definitely fun to kind of watch. I wanted to see how they how they progressed when racing started.
And they were in it. They were elbows up in the lead groups, which was fun to watch. No doubt about that. Poor David dealing with the allergies of being trackside all weekend long. How dry it is in Las Vegas. I think that's the one thing I always have to deal with when I get back. I just feel so dry. I'm like, I know it's Vegas, right? You're in the desert. People there deal with it, but man, it beats us up pretty good, doesn't
it? Well, yeah, we're not used to it.
No,
we're not used to it, and then lots of talking as well too throughout the week.
True enough. All right, so let's get to the next one. One of the big news: Zachary Clayman DeMello was not able to make the trek down to the event, so Mike Manning Karting VLR Senior machine was sitting there needing a driver, and they picked up a guy that's pretty decent, Jeremy Fletcher, who knows how to get around and win races on temporary circuits in Las Vegas. As you'll hear later, it all went well, but that was kind of a cool story coming in, David, that Fletcher was going to swap in there for ZCD.
Yeah, and he wasn't the first pick, actually. That's
really?
The fun part. Yeah. Race Liberante was asked if he would be interested in racing. Liberante was actually wrenching for Kyle Hayner in the VLR Masters category. But he obviously declined because he wanted to help focus and be good on that end. So he kind of recommended Fletcher, who was their driver coaching with the LFB racing operation that was literally pitted right next to the Mike Manning tent. So Fletcher got connected with them and didn't make it on track until Thursday morning. So missed all of the Wednesday practice. Thursday morning, went out for his first lap, but they had a mechanical issue, so he didn't even get a full lap in.
Wow.
So happy hour was his first time, and didn't quite go well in the happy hour session as well. So he was in the slow group for qualifying, ended up actually qualifying top 10 from the slow group. So just a third session. Yeah, a lot going on. So yeah, it was quite a story. Also Fletcher coming off the Mazda MX-5 Cup Championship. So certainly a lot of attention on the white cheddar.
No doubt about it. White cheddar. My God. Last but not least, let's cap off this edition of the Paddock Pass, again brought to you by Comet Kart Sales. We actually had a bit that we're working on as well, but Jordan Musser, a new program, David. Musser Technical, where he's coming out with a number of components focused on the Smarty Cam video program and obviously playing a role at PSL Karting.
Yeah, PSL Karting, one of the first teams to kind of utilize the different components that Musser Technical is putting out for the karting market. It's something they've kind of been playing with over the last few months. One of them being an actual power packet battery system to help keep the Smarty Cam working and on point all throughout the event, rather than utilizing the power that powers the engine. We're definitely going to we're having more art. We're working on some articles that we'll be publishing more than likely after the Supernauts to kind of focus on the different products that he does have available right now, and kind of the story of where Musser Technical came from and why now going into the karting market.
Yeah, what is the genesis behind with Jordan, multi-time, of course, national champion, diving into the business side of karting, having been in the sport for so many years. All right, off to our next break. When we get back, it's time to dive into the race report. 9 race groups, 11 champions crowned at Las Vegas. When we get back after this break, we will dive into the race report. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Sodi Kart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to a new exclusive importer, the Karting Distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Sodi Kart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers products in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has expanded its dealer network over the last year, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. Sodi USA by Velocity Racing is the official race team in the United States for the brand, hitting all the major events and series throughout the season. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Sodi Kart chassis or call 954-634-5600. 5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in the world of karting with a never-ending focus on winning. Kart CRG USA is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, Kart CRG USA supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. The CRG KT5 has been designed specifically for the US market. The KT5 is the perfect fit for X30, KA100, and other tag platforms, featuring the new Aero package and VEN 11B braking system. For cadet drivers, the CRG Black Beer continues to log in victories and championships across the globe, and is utilized in both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competition here in North America. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, continues its excellence for those of the shifter kart ranks. The CRG FS4 chassis is the ideal choice for racers in Briggs and Stratton competition, with numerous podium results across classes at the CKNA divisional and national events. From pure racing to karting entertainment, many tracks, both indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the CRG Centurion rental kart line. 5 different models for both gas-powered or electric engines can fit any track's needs for a new rental kart fleet. Kart CRG USA has a full inventory of rental karts available for new and existing facilities. For more information on the CRG product line, head to kartcrgusa.com, or to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at sales@kartcrg.com. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief for this year's ROK Vegas event, capping off our EKN trackside coverage from Las Vegas. Time to go into the race report presented today by AIM Sports. From its early days, AIM Sports has tailored its innovations to provide precise insights, allowing racers to fine-tune their strategies and push their limits. Fast forward to today, and they are excited to celebrate 30 years of Micron by introducing the latest evolution in karting data loggers, the Micron 6. Designed with cutting-edge features, including 25 Hz GPS with mil-spec precision, a 6-axis inertial platform, shift lights and alarms, temperature inputs, and many more features. It's perfect for karting enthusiasts looking to enhance their game on the track. Join the AIM Sports community today and equip yourself with the Micron 6 to take your karting experience to the next level. Visit aimsports.com to learn more. AIM Sports, 30 years of Micron. All right, David Cole, we're going to start with the headline category, ROK SV Pro. 49 drivers taking the green throughout the weekend in some exciting racing up front. Another number of different drivers able to get themselves into the top 10, but there really was kind of a group of drivers who were at the forefront throughout the weekend. As we always do all throughout the headline, you'll fill in the information. Here's the headline, folks. McQueen triumphs for debut victory.
Yeah, as we talked about, this was kind of the headline quarter. This was the headline category, with qualifying being very, very important. Jake Drew coming away with a 40.568 to be the fast time in the session, roughly about 2 seconds quicker than the VLR category and 1 second slower than the ROK shifter. So it'll give you kind of a speed orientation there in terms of lap time with those top 3 categories. Drew was really the driver to beat throughout the opening days, was able to win 3 of the 4 heat races. McQueen was able to slide in for a race win in heat number 3 after finishing second to him in the opening 2 rounds. Gianluca Savalio was third in the opening heat. Frankie Mossman third in the second heat. And again, McQueen ended up winning heat 3 ahead of Jake Drew and then rookie Turner Brown. Heat number 4, however, was kind of the wild one. McQueen looked to make a pass on Drew in turn 4, I believe, and ended up, I think he stopped himself from trying to wreck Drew. Rob, what did you see on the broadcast? That's where he went inside. It looked like he wasn't going to make it, and pretty much just almost came to a stop, but slid and turned and spun around.
Yeah, exactly that. Yep.
So that took McQueen essentially out of the running in that heat race, as Drew went on to take the win over Frankie Mossman and Gianmatteo Rousseau, finishing in the third spot. But the heat races were progressive, so I guess if you're going to screw one up, the fourth one would be the one to screw up, because McQueen actually ended up sitting 6 on the grid, as Jake Drew, Frankie Mossman made up row 1, Gianmatteo Rousseau and Turner Brown row 2. Gianluca Savaglio was in row 3 with McQueen. So a pretty good stout first 3 rows for the main event. That did see Gianmatteo Rousseau essentially plow his way up into the lead in the opening lap. Talking with Drew and Mossman about it, that's kind of what it felt like for them. But Rousseau would only lead that opening lap, as Drew was able to grab the lead back from him, and as Rousseau slipped down the order with more and more drivers passing, one of them being McQueen, who worked his way all the way up, eventually up into the second spot, as it was Drew, McQueen, and Mossman that really were kind of broken away from the rest of the field. McQueen would actually take the lead over on lap number 8. And that was it. Drew didn't really have an opportunity to kind of respond. It was kind of a very evenly matched pace between Drew, McQueen, and Mossman that were sitting right up there in the front 3.
And David, Drew was like, he put the pressure on, but it just didn't look like he had what he needed to be in the right spot. There was just areas where he would lose a little bit, right? He would lose a bit coming out of 3 and 4 over to turn 5. The right-hander there, so many overtakes happened. He just couldn't quite position himself. And same thing on the back straightaway. I don't think he just was quite there enough coming out of turn number 8 either. He had the pace. The times were almost exactly the same, but he just didn't have the pace where he needed to overtake.
Well, and let's look at it this way. Warm-up was the only time they were on this engine. And so I guess it was kind of a guessing game, because that was early in the morning.
Yeah.
This race was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
yeah,
2 o'clock even
later. Yeah. I think 2 o'clock.
So again, it wasn't like the other days where they had a warm up and 2 heat races. This was the only racing session they had with this engine platform or engine that they drew earlier in that morning. So maybe he was just missing gear the wrong direction based on what the engine was doing. Obviously, everybody went out on new tires. Not everyone.
yeah.
But all the categories were allotted a new set for that day. And so maybe the track gripped up. I didn't really talk to Drew about that, but I got to assume that they probably just missed the setup a little bit to not be able to do what they had done in kind of the heat races. But
let me speak to that, because that's a good question. Because actually, Jackson Lambros, who was our pit reporter, talked to a bunch of people saying they were surprised that they thought the track had kind of hit that plateau where it was starting to get sticky now, where carts were kind of locked down a little more, like not crazy sticky, but the rubber going on all weekend. It seemed like at that point they'd got to the place where you maybe had to dial grip out of it. Otherwise, other than usually, as dial and grip in like you would in a temporary circuit like that.
Yeah, that's it. But I look at it this way: McQueen was one of the quickest drivers all weekend long. Yep. He qualified 4th after wrecking on lap 6, where he mistakenly hit the wall himself, unforced. Yep. So, in all honesty, he could have been the top qualifier had he not wrecked in lap 4 of qualifying session, because as we said, the more the session went on, the faster they got. So that alone, just to me, I think McQueen just had a little bit more, both chassis related and understanding the engine platform a little bit more.
And David, he reeled in Drew. Like every time Drew got out to it, even in the races that Jake won, McQueen, got into his position, reeled him in, and eventually put the pressure on. You know what I mean? Like they even going back and forth with each other. So it's not a surprise so McQueen came to the forefront at all.
So qualifying time. Let's wrap up the race, and then we'll talk a little bit more about times and this and that. McQueen was able to go on to win by 7/10 over Jake Drew on the GFC. First Sody Kart win for McQueen since he started the year out on the Energy brand. Frankie Mossman with Speed Concepts Racing in 3rd. Diego Ramos actually was credited with 4th after Blake Nash was penalized for pushback bumper penalty. That dropped him to 6th. So moved up Ramos to 4th, and then Turner Brown wrapping up the top 5.
Yeah, and Nash, let's give Blake a shout out, proper shout out. He was able to reel in Mossman. It was kind of a front running trio that took off early with Drew, McQueen, and Mossman. But Nash was able to get up there, and same thing with Ramos. He was able to really dig his way forward, and it was quite impressive, making some big passes on the way forward. Nash put a bunch of pressure on Mossman, as you said, at the end of that race, and kept Frankie super honest. In fact, Frankie, I think, was on the defense for a majority of the last handful of laps when Nash got there. Not able to get by, 4th on the road, 6th with the pushback, as you said. But then we talked earlier, of course, in the paddock pass about the young rookie, Turner Brown. Very impressive. Top 5 on the podium for his first major senior level event. Overall, just a really good weekend for Turner Brown.
So Blake Nash actually recording fast lap of the race, a 40.385, which was actually about 2/10 quicker than what Jake Drew did on qualifying. So new set of tires for that main event. All these guys were on new tires, till 2/10 quicker by the change of what they qualified Thursday. So 3 days of racing.
There it is. All right, we'll move into the ROK VLR senior category. Here's your headline in this one. We talked about it a little bit already, but this headline is Fletcher grabs victory in super sub roll.
Yeah, that was kind of a focal point. We were watching how good, he was going to do coming in, not having much track time, not racing a kart in a very long time, but obviously does a lot of coaching on the side as well. But it was Jonathan Ports coming away with the fast time in that session, a 42.458. And as we mentioned, just about 2 seconds slower than the SV program on the track at the same time. So again, this category with a lot of drivers was split up for the heat races, the ABCD format. It was actually Jeremy Fletcher. So Fletcher qualifies 9th out of the Slur group, a 42.606, so about 2/10 off. Works his way up forward in the opening round of heat races, wins that one with Sebastian Garzone, a USF championship driver, winning the other heat race. Fletcher comes back to win another in the round 2 heat race along with Chase Hand. Hand comes back, wins his second heat race in the third round of heat races, while Jonathan Ports actually holds on to grab a heat race win after failing to do so in the opening 2 rounds. So take all the heat race points that they had there in the 3 rounds of racing, put Chase Hand. I heard you guys doing it all weekend long, so Jackson now I had to. Chase Hand earning the pole position for the pre-final with Jeremy Fletcher alongside Ports and Garzone in row 2, Colin Lloyd and Jose Carlos Hernandez in row 3. So they run a pre-final. The top 30 drivers in points were moved to the pre-final. Rest of the field was put in the LCQ, with the top 10 going from the LCQ into the main. So pre-final time, however, Fletcher was able to get away with the win, while Garzone moved up to the 2nd spot. Chase Hand in 3rd. Jake Drew working his way up into the 4th, with Dean Pedersen in 5th spot, and then Alexander Vanchev in 6th. So Ports got shuffled back in the pre-final, not exactly the way he wanted that to go. Main event time, however, it was the Jeremy Fletcher show. Just cold tires, new tires, cold tires, just was on point in the pretty much the first 2 corners.
Yeah, well, let's throw this out here, right? They did go high on tire pressure, and he said that we went higher on our tire pressure. We wanted to get out in front of everybody, and I need to go back and watch the broadcast, David, and you do as well. I want to say lap 2 or lap 3, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, immediately went on the defense, and I called it. I went, the race is over right now. The race is done, because he was so good.
I just looked at the start video that I did, and by the time they were going into, what was it, turn 6 and 7 complex? Is that what you called the S's there?
Yeah. The right-hander, the right left,
the right to left. Yeah. Yep. So you write 6 and 7.
Turn 6 and turn 7.
By the time he got there, he probably had at least 5 cart lengths on everybody. So it was very Ryan Norberg-esque in that sense, in the past, where we've seen a guy just do so well. Yeah. Or say even a Gary Carlton back in the day and
that was ranks. That was Gary's deal for sure. 2 seconds out and hold that 2 seconds.
And just, I mean, he just was super good through the first opening corners, But you're right. Everybody started racing for second, and by that time,
full on defense down the
Yeah.
back straight. I can't remember who was running second at that time.
Garzone.
All the way, yeah, it was Garzone. All the way to the bottom, coming out of turn number 9. I called it. The race is over now because they all of a sudden they were battling for second. Like,
What are you guys What are you guys teaching in the USF?
Dude, I don't. Well, listen, Garzone won both junior races at the Super Nationals last year.
Yeah.
He should know better than that. Like, the minute he went to the bottom of the race, I literally called it. It's over. Fletcher's gone. Like, and with the higher tire pressures, you know, it was going to be good for the first 5 laps out of the gate. He even said, he goes, at the end, I knew they were catching me because it was going away bad because his tire pressure was so high. But he had a 7.5 second lead or something ridiculous like that at one point. It was crazy. Unbelievable.
Yep. So that was it. It was a battle for second throughout the race. Eventually, Jonathan Ports worked his way up into that spot, so he crossed the line second. But a penalty for passing under yellow dropped him from second in the order to 5th. That moved Colin Lloyd up into the second spot. Chase Hand finishing 3rd. Dean Pedersen in the 4th spot.
I think he does go by Peterson, doesn't he? I think it's Peterson.
I can't remember.
So let me unpack a little bit from my side for the booth. Obviously, Fletcher did a tremendous job. Long gone. They decided to battle out for second very early. Shout out to Colin Lloyd for a great drive working his way forward. I feel bad for Jonathan Ports. Super strong in second, but the pass under the yellow, there was a yellow at the start finish line, a yellow in 1. And like there's no way he wasn't getting a penalty for that because everybody's like, whoa, what? Hold on. So he made the pass into 1. But yeah, Colin Lloyd, what a fantastic drive for Colin to get himself up into there. Chase Hand, as we know, was super fast throughout the entire weekend, was obviously one of the guys I think could have potentially won had they not thrown the race away, going on defensive so early. I think that if they would have lined up, they would have been able to catch Fletcher eventually, but they did not line up. They decided to battle. Great job for Peterson, obviously coming over from doing all that racing over in Europe throughout the year. He and Christian Brooks have been over there, and he's able to come back here and put on a show to go to P4. But other guys showed really well as well. You know, Alessandro De Tullio was fast. There's a bunch of guys I think probably deserved a little better, but they got shuffled back early.
Yeah, ADT actually crossed the line in 4th, but got a 2-position penalty for contact, so that dropped him down to 6th in the order. Jesus Vasquez Jr., 7th. One Canadian in the top 10, Oliver Merck, finishing 8th. Gavin McCoon and Alexander Vanchev rounding out the top 10.
Good stuff. All right. Again, 3 big races, obviously, the SV Pro and the VLR Senior. Not so much a huge category for the ROK Shifter Pro class, but there was 4 drivers in the fight the entire weekend. Here's the headline, though. Gulick gives GFC 4th victory in category.
Yeah, it wasn't a sweep for sure. It was definitely a 4-driver battle, but it was led throughout the week by Jacob Gulick, a 39.568 to lead the way in qualifying. Gulick actually picking up the win in heat number 1 ahead of Adrian Renaudin, and then Cooper Becklin finishing in 3rd, but Renaudin picking up 2 heat wins, winning heat 2 and heat 3, while Gulick had to sit back there in 2nd. One of Valiante picking up 3rd, while Cooper Becklin picked up another 3rd in heat number 3. The 4th heat, however, went to Jacob Gulick as he was able to get ahead of Adrian with the Massimo Valiante finishing in 3rd once again. So the grid for the main event had Gulick and Renaudin on the front row, Becklin and Valiante in row 2, Mateo Pappas, and then the Masters driver Scott Hargrove picking up a P6 starting spot in the pro category. Whole shot went to Gulick, and that was pretty much it. Yeah. Renaudin was right there on his bumper throughout the early laps, and Valiante had moved himself into the 3rd spot, and it was really those 3 drivers that got away. Something happened with Cooper Becklin that I missed, Robin.
I did too.
Because he was running 4th, but then fell way back. Not sure if it was a missed at
1 point. I don't know what happened to him.
Not sure if it was a missed gear or what it was, but he fell back. But Valiante was very, very good on this new set of tires. Got around Renaudin on lap number 7, and that's pretty much how they ran until the checkered flag. The Frenchman Renaudin unable to kind of retaliate against the Canadian, so it was Gulick with you and the USC GFC, Valiante, the Canadian on the Ital cart, and then Frenchman Renaudin on the Sodi cart going 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, good stuff up front for sure. A solid run for Scott Hargrove, and it was interesting talking to him after the race on Sunday, because we flash back to March when he ran the SCUSA Pro Tour in the Masters category. The idea was to run Masters to try to make sure he'd be ready to come back to the pro categories, the senior classes for both Rock Vegas and the Super Nationals. So we laughed at that. He said, "I'm so out of shape right now. I haven't been driving enough back in March." You can see he lost weight, strong, and was really strong throughout the weekend as well. So shout out to Scott Hargrove coming home P4. And again, of course, Mateo Pappas finishing in the 5th position. He had a couple of good heat races, had one bad one, I think, fell back, but otherwise able to get himself back up into the top 5.
Yeah, Hargrove definitely just needs a little bit more to be able to be kind of that in contention role.
Only a couple tenths off, I think, the entire weekend. Like every heat race is 1, maybe 2, 3 tenths off potentially. So yeah, bodes well for how he'll be able to do when he gets to the Super Nats in a couple of weeks. After the next break, we come back. We'll continue the race report presented by AIM Sports. We've got ROK GP Junior, ROK VLR Junior. Those are next up. There's a new hot button name in American safety equipment, Stilo USA. Every product with Stilo is focused on safety, comfort, and function. Stilo USA is happy to provide you with the proper safety apparel to keep you protected on the track, and their karting lineup is second to none. New to the product lineup is the Stilo Carbon CMR karting helmet. Designed to revolutionize your karting experience, this carbon fiber crafted helmet is among the lightest on the market, without compromising on safety. The Stilo ST5 KRT karting helmet is manufactured using a lightweight and extremely strong composite material. The KRT provides an excellent fit and comfort level due to its dual density interior foam lining, and it's equipped with a symmetrical visor that offers excellent vision and an effortless central visor locking system. The Stilo ST5 CMR standard was developed jointly by the FIA Institute and Snell Memorial Foundation to ensure safer and lighter weight helmets for younger karters. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, lightweight construction, and the unparalleled field of vision that is perfect for the youth helmet line. Stilo didn't stop with their helmets either. The newly developed Carbon Curva rib protector is unlike any other on the market, with a form-fitting solution to offer superior protection. The Carbon Curva 8870 version is FIA homologated and includes a chest protector. Head to StiloHelmets.com to review these products and many more to keep you safe on the track. Stilo, any competition, one helmet. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklincart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the ceramic product line, Driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, Smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklincart.com. Welcome back to episode 158 of the EKN Debrief, which will wrap up our coverage, our EKN trackside coverage of ROK Vegas 2025. It was a ton of fun to be out there for the event, getting set to roll back into the race report brought to you by AIM Sports. We'll start with the ROK GP Junior category. And again, Rob Howden here with David Cole. Here is the headline. David's going to fill in the information. I was trackside, so I'll be able to help a little bit. But the headline for Junior, Doan named winner after checkered flag? Lots to unpack here, David.
Yes, there is, Rob. Yes, there is. One thing was for sure, Leonardo Saravalli was the driver to beat throughout the first 3 days of a competition.
Agreed.
The Canadian setting a 41.428 in qualifying to lead the way in the field, and then went on to win all 4 heat races, surprisingly, because it was pretty competitive. A lot of drivers up front, a lot of battling throughout all 4 heat races, but Saravalli able to pick up the win in all 4. You had Pettit and Bradley right there in the opening round, Bradley and Royce Vega in the second heat, Isaac Malkit and Theo Salameo in the third heat, and then Salameo and Tristan Murphy in the fourth heat. So really a lot of different drivers in contention throughout the heat racing that we did see. That set up Saravalli and Salameo on the front row, Sarah Bradley and Marco Samet in row 2, Isaac Malkit and Tristan Murphy in row 3. And then back in 8th was Eric Doan. Doan had, I think, an issue. I think he wrecked in the opening heat race. So he kind of had to come from the back with the progressive format to kind of move his way forward each heat race, and ended up starting P8 for the main event. In this race, again, we talked about the kind of white lining that was really prevalent in this race, which was the opening main event of the day. Salameo was one of them that was really in the defensive mode, probably about halfway through the main event. So it kind of kept the lead pack to 8, 9 drivers, maybe 10 at one time.
Nobody broke away because of that. 100%.
Nobody breaking away. Again, the defensive line not exactly helping with that. But again, a lot of drivers were right there all weekend long. And this, I don't think Saravalli led that much. I think he led early, and then Salameo kind of took over, was there kind of white lining it. Saravalli wasn't really quite able to figure out how to respond to that a little bit, and kind of got shuffled back. So coming to lap 21, Salameo's leading. Eric Doan had worked his way up into the second spot. Again, because of the defensive line, just a lot of shuffling behind Salameo. So Doan ended up getting into second, goes to the lead prior to the white flag with a pretty good move through, I think, the back section of the racetrack. And was in the lead. Marco Samet actually followed him through. So you had 2 new drivers at the front of the field. They get the white flag. They come around going into turn 4. Doan goes on the defensive move. Samet was right there on his bumper. They kind of pushed. Dave,
let me just update, because when we're watching at home, we called that turn 5. The ROK Vegas.
Oh, okay.
They called that 5. They said 1 was the kink, 2's the initial first corner, 3, 4 the little right left coming through, and then turn 5 was the right hander. Just so so people know what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, turn 5. Samet's on his bumper. They kind of push wide. Samet kind of just drives underneath them, and as they roll towards turn 6 and 7, Samet has the lead. And then there's a lot of contact, a lot of shuffling behind him. That included Saravalli and Salameo going into the wall there. So Salameo ending his race, Saravalli falling down the order. And then Samet was unchallenged throughout the second half of the lap and came across the line as the provisional winner.
Yep.
So from there, he's on the scale line, gets a penalty slip for a provisional penalty. They're not quite sure what it is. They decide, oh, nope, that wasn't you. That was somebody else. So they took away the penalty. He goes through tech, ends up getting another penalty after tech, according to the Samet family, and had the win taken away and was not protested, was not awarded or given the position, the lead position back, and thus Eric Doan was named the winner of the race.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, obviously a lot of people were pretty disappointed in the BGR camp, the Samet camp, that and you and I've looked at the video myself. I if there was any contact mid corner, I would have called it a racing incident myself. It wasn't anything egregious. Salmon was able to get underneath. Then he and Doan drag raced down into turn 6, and Salmon had the inside. Doan checked up on the outside, and they finished off the corner. I personally was very surprised that he would have got a penalty for that. But again, I'm a broadcaster, you're a journalist, right? It's not for we're not race control. So overall, disappointing. Eric Doan happy with it, obviously getting the race win, coming home in second. But Salmon, I think probably deserved that race win.
Yeah, I mean, we in the last month or so, we've seen some bad calls made. And again, we're all human. It does happen. Race officials will not always get it correct. We see it at all the different levels in motorsports. Including NASCAR's playoff format. That's a joke in itself. Yeah. But yeah, you just kind of question the reason of the penalty. What is contact? What is not contact? What should be deemed a penalty? What should not? There's a lot of different variables, viewpoints, angles of where you're seeing the contact occur.
And that's where I struggle, David, because we were told essentially by the Salmon's team that they protested it, but the race officials didn't look at his video, which I don't understand.
Yeah, I think there's a structure.
That's my big hurdle. Yeah, maybe it's the structure, but my big hurdle is why wouldn't you look at Salmon's video or the video from the driver behind? That's what.
I think there's a structure element to failure in this particular scenario.
Yeah.
And again, we just went through this at Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, where something that should have been a penalty was overturned, not called a penalty, and again, having the right angles and viewpoints certainly helped make the call a lot smoother.
Yeah, 100%.
So obviously, ROK Cup USA will have this kind of a blemish on the event. I think this was really the only bad major call that would dictate an outcome that we saw throughout the week. So so again, we're all human. We make mistakes. It happens, and we just have to move forward and learn from it. Hopefully that will be the case for ROK Cup USA.
Hopefully when they do their own debrief after any major event, like any organization would do, sit down and look at the issues, what things you could potentially improve on. We always do that. That'll be something they look at. Maybe they can, with feedback from their team owners and their competitors, can look at a way to maybe fine tune their structure and their procedures when it comes to looking at a video. Because I really believe that some video. Listen, even if it still went against Salmon, I think they should have looked at his video. I think that would have been a no-brainer, and they did not look at his video from what we're being told. So, hey, the bottom line is Eric Doan comes away with the win. Marco Salmon finishing in second spot. Isaac Malkett, David, in the third position. Tristan Murphy in fourth, and Travis Pettit was rounded out the top 5.
Yeah, a little bit of chaos again, like we said, that kind of shuffled up the order. So yeah, that put Murphy and Pettit in there. I think it dropped Bradley down. She kind of got involved with it. Otherwise, she would have had a top 5.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot to unpack from that main event.
Let's give Sarah Bradley some props. In the late going there, she was up on the wheel. She made a couple of big passes, got herself to second. And obviously, as we know, it got kind of crazy over there in turn number 5, and then over to turn number 6 with Salameo going hard through the barriers in the final circuit. But Sarah definitely she dropped the hammer for sure and put herself in a place where she could have came away with potentially a race win.
Definitely, yeah. She was right there until the closing corners.
Yeah. Moving on to ROK VLR Jr. This one, no issues out front, ladies and gentlemen. Here's your headline. Malkett claims second career win in dominant fashion.
Yeah, it was actually Leonardo Saravalli picking up the fast time and qualifying at 42.664. So again, 2 top qualifying honors for the Canadian coming down. A 1.2 second difference in terms of lap time between the GP and the VLR, just for those who are keeping notes.
Yeah.
But in the heat races, Malkett was the driver to beat. He won all 3 of his heat races, and from what I was told, was never passed throughout those heat races. So went up to the front in all of them. Gibson winning in round 1 and Cole Medeiros winning the other 2. So we only had 4 different heat race winners over the 3 rounds and 6 total races. Points were tabulated after those heats with Malkett and Medeiros on the front row of the pre-final. Saravalli and McGraw, I forgot his name, Riker. Riker.
Riker
I knew it started with an R. Riker McGraw joining Saravalli in row 2, Tristan Murphy and Jackson Gibson going from row 3. And pre-final was all Malkit out front ahead of Medeiros with Saravalli in 3rd, Murphy 4th, and Luca Popescu moving up there into the top 5. But Rob, the main event was all Malkit.
Very similar. Obviously, I'm not sure. Did they ran before the seniors? I think. Isaac got out front, and it wasn't as aggressive in terms of the people deciding to battle for second early behind him, but he just got out early and just started banging out the laps, and as he started to pull away, like I mentioned, 7.5 seconds at one point to lead for Fletcher. It wasn't him that got that far out. It was Malkit who was able to go that far out. It ended up being a 9.9 second win. Let's put it that way. But he did get to the point where he just kept pulling away. Finally, they started battling for second and realizing they were fighting for second and fighting for the final spots on the podium. But indeed, he was able to pull away. One of the key things, David, you want to do it now or do you want to do it later? As you found out something early in the day that end up playing a big way to Malkit's program. And I'll say this, Malkit, great lineup of people around him too. Of course, his dad has been with Isaac forever, but now to have a combination of Mike Doty and Greg Bell, the Mike Doty Racing leading edge motorsports program for Malkit, pretty solid group of guys battling that kid in all weekend.
Yeah, we just happened to be at the scales when they were on track for warm up, and he pulled off early. Just went and got the feedback, seeing if there was anything wrong, because again, he was starting on the pole position. So it's very odd to see pole driver come in early for warm up, and they scuffed their tires. So rather than go out on brand new tires for the main event, they actually did 2 to 3 laps to scuff up the tires, make them a heat cycle in them already. And go out on the main event with that same set, and Rob, it was over a half second a lap. He was faster than everybody for the first half of the race. It was just phenomenal, and he actually didn't even record his fast lap until the end of the race. It was lap 21. Mm-hmm. I didn't pull it up yet here, but I believe it was lap 19 of 22. There you go. And he put the fastest lap of the race, a 42.357. So 0.3 of a lap quicker than qualifying time, but nobody was even 0.2 within his time.
Yeah. Impressive. So impressive. Like the car, obviously, listen, the whole package is put together correctly. Isaac hit the marks, and the bottom line is that move to scuff the tires gave him that early gap that he was able to pull away from. There was a lot of action behind him, though, David, for the final couple of spots on the podium, because it was not easy. Let's put it that way.
No, it happened actually in the final corner on the last lap. That included Eric Doan. It included Salameo, included Cole Medeiros and Salameo. I don't think even finished the race. Doan was actually, I thought he was the driver that was sideways, but I have him.
So here's because I remember this vividly. So again, Malkit's already at the line at this point. I think he's already crossed the line. So coming down the back chute out of turn 9, the little right left kink. Doan makes a fantastic move on Medeiros. Medeiros is running second, Doan third. They come to the left of turn 10, and Doan just throws up the inside of the apex of 11, right? Great pass. Gets it to rotate. Medeiros, of course, then pushed a little bit wide, but Medeiros, he's not going to stop. He's got to come back from left to right to get to turn 12. So as he comes around the corner, he's obviously he's off the throttle. He's kind of coming slow. They get around the corner. And at that point, Salameo, I believe, was the one that was diving to somebody was trying to dive to the inside of Medeiros. There was no room there at all. If you go back and look at the replay, they get together. Doan's way on the outside of the racetrack as somebody gets into the side of him. And I can't remember actually who got into the side of Doan, who was in that fight as well. So 4 carts are sliding all over the place. Everybody's kind of diving to the inside to try to get through. It totally blew apart second back to fifth, as the guys that were in that group behind that chase group, second and fifth, I think essentially all 4 of them essentially kind of take it out of the action.
Yeah, I thought I saw Doan sideways at one time.
He was sideways on the exit because he made a good run through the corner. Medeiros was kind of to the inside, but he also had I can't remember who it was, but somebody else was with Doan and kind of got into him coming out of turn number 11 over through 12. It
Yeah, there's just so many carts in that area at that same time. But yeah,
Exactly.
Salomeo and Medeiros went off to the outside. Medeiros didn't even continue.
No,
Salomeo
he hit the wall and actually hurt his wrist a little bit.
Salomeo actually drove to cross the line in 15th, but that allowed Riker McGraw to come through with second, Tristan Murphy in third, Benham Abernathy in fourth, and then Braden Wagner up 11 spots with all that chaos to finish in the fifth spot. Doan actually got a penalty. I was just double checking that 2 seconds for avoidable contact, but he did cross the line in the sixth position.
They gave Doan a penalty for that move?
I don't know if it was for that or if it was for something else that happened but again, that's the hard part. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Something we should always have is when the actual penalty takes place. That would be a nice little note for all scorekeepers out there. I know certain programs do that, some don't.
It was great. I thought it was a great move for Doan. Last lap, throwing it in there, getting to the inside, and I'll give him Cole Medeiros to do everything he could do on the outside to get back over to the apex of 12. It was a wild finish at the end for sure.
But yeah,
I'm 100% going to watch as soon as we're done this show.
Go back to the Rock Cup USA YouTube page. Make sure you check out Rock VLR Jr. was the last one in the morning group sessions. To make sure you watch that.
I actually want to go do it right now.
Rob, we got a lot of other classes.
I know. I'll wait. Do you want to give a shout out to Jackson Gibson?
Jackson Gibson.
Your last note there.
Oh, so he actually crossed the line in the fifth spot. Sorry. He was penalized 200 positions. No, 41 positions for eliminating a competitor. So I believe that might have been Gibson, maybe that got into, or it was from something else. Yeah. Could have been Santillan maybe earlier in the race, or Travis Pettit was a retirement. Not sure which
nonetheless, was fifth across the line, penalty dropped him to the tail of the field.
Yep.
All right, there you go. All right, up to another break. When we get back, we talked about Masters. Let's dive into those Masters categories and Super Masters classes as well. VLR and Shifter up next. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the United States, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. 8 brands under the OTK USA banner are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the ROK Cup USA Florida Winter Tour, the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and Winter Series, the United States Pro Kart Series, and even more programs throughout the country. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, EOS, and Red Speed have been joined by the Gallard, LN Racing Kart, and CS55 brands. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, visit otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK USA directly. OTK, the gold standard of karting. Motor mounts. They keep your engine attached to your chassis, right? The answer is, they're much more important than that. Your motor mount is critical in transferring 100% of the power from your engine through to your tires and the racetrack. You need this to get on the podium each and every time you race. Odenthal Racing Products is here for you, providing the best motor mounts on the karting market today, all designed to make sure you're using all the horsepower you pay for. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience in providing products with unmatched quality and value for our racing community. The Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines, which is available in 0, 5, and 8-degree inclinations, provides a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a minimum without adding too much weight to your setup. The 4-cycle Easy Set system is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, our ORP wedge clamps get the job done, and they feature a number of design updates to provide a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro style sizes. And now, Odenthal has also revolutionized the karting industry with its new Easy GP camera mounting system. Designed to mount anywhere on your chassis with 1 or 2 cameras, the ORP EasyGP camera mount is your solution to capture that onboard winning moment. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, proudly made in the USA. Back at it with the race report here, brought to you by AIM Sports as we continue with the EKN debrief for this year's ROK Vegas event. The whole show, again, brought to you by Sodi Racing USA. Time to dive into the Masters categories. We'll begin with ROK VLR Masters. Here's the headline. Fonseca emerges with victory in wild battle.
It was a wild one. It was good.
Yes.
When you put both categories together, you had 34 carts out on the racetrack. So very fun to watch. Lots of action to kind of keep track of. But up front in the regular Masters category, it was kind of the two names we thought were going to be there: Renato Jader-David and two-time defending winner Ben Cooper. It was RJD picking up the first tab, 43.496. And then going on to win the opening heat race ahead of Cooper and Kyle Hayner. Cooper struck back in heat 2, picking up the win there ahead of RJD with Lourenço Mardan finishing third in that one. Mardan looked to be the driver kind of getting more and more comfortable, and he actually took the win in heat number 3, but a pushback pumper penalty took the heat win away. That moved Kyle Hayner into that role, RJD second, and Charlie Fonseca in the third spot. RJD came back and won the final heat race ahead of Ryan Kasner and Eric Molinari. So again, a lot of different drivers in the mix with a lot of jostling over the final 2 heat races on Saturday. That set the grid up for the main event with RJD and Ben Cooper from the front row. Supermaster driver Mario Barrios was actually third overall on the grid, so that kind of threw a little bit of a wrench in for some of the regular Masters drivers, with Mardan in fourth, Molinari in fifth, and Kyle Hayner in sixth. Charlie Fonseca actually starting in P7, so he kind of made up the VLR Masters top 6.
Yep.
And that's pretty much who was up front. Barrios got kind of shuffled back into that 7th overall position with Ryan Kasner moving up into the group. So making it those 7 drivers really battling for the lead throughout the main event. It was Renato Jader-David and Ben Cooper fighting out the front of the field, taking different turns at the lead. Eventually, Cooper was leading, and then on lap 19, Renato Jader-David went to a deep inside move in turn 5. It was essentially the cart at about a 45-degree angle going into the apex.
Well, set the stage that Cooper was already defending to the inside of turn 5, and then
exactly
RJD went all the way to the inside.
Yeah. All the way to the inside. From my vantage point, which I think I was at turn 2, I guess now that you're calling it 2.
Yeah.
There was just tons of dust flying up in the air.
He just threw it to the inside, missed the apex completely, and had Cooper hung out to dry on the outside.
Yeah, it was quite unique move. Not exactly a high percentage move. Kind of a let's just throw it all away kind of move, and that's exactly what happened. So that kind of shuffled things up because Cooper kind of had to go wide to avoid hitting him, or
to come back under.
Even contact. Yep. Did occur. I don't know, but it slowed his pace. That allowed Charlie Fonseca to kind of pull an over under on all of them. Came out the corner with the lead, and then behind him, they're all jostling for position.
Yeah, David, what happened was Molinari, so Fonseca does the over under because he's running third. Those two guys, RJD and Cooper, start pushing wide. Fonseca does a perfect over under to come up with the corner. Molinari's coming with them. Literally, they were going to roll through for 1 and 2. And just as Molinari's trying to clear Cooper coming back across, he makes contact right front, the left rear. Molinari immediately just shoots to the left, right into RJD. And both those Orsilon drivers in the wall on the outside of the racetrack. Crazy.
Well, Molinari is actually Speed Sense.
Oh, was he Speed Sense? Sorry.
Yeah, Speed Sense. Yeah, Speed Sense. He was on the Xpree for Speed Sense.
Thank you.
He goes into the wall. Yeah, RJD is done. So those two basically are done. Cooper falls all the way back to 5th in all of this because of just getting, yeah, I guess railroad kind
Well,
of.
no,
I don't know,
yeah,
however you wanna
remember
say
he
it.
had zero speed coming out of
Zero
turn five
speed, yeah.
because he's had to lock it up and to get it inside to kind of over under to get back on the inside of Renato, and then he's got no speed coming out of the corner. Everybody else is doing the over under.
Yeah.
Ryan Kasner, everybody else is doing over under to be able to get the sixth first. Wow.
And that's the thing too, because the exit is not a straight exit; it's a bend on the exit to get yourself towards the straight part, and so that made it for a tricky. And we saw it actually in the SV Pro category where a guy got tangled up and actually hit the barriers and flipped over. I think it was Keegan Kaminsky. So
you're right.
So Fonseca pulled off the over under. Mardan came through after Molinari went into the wall. So they were able to finish 1-2 as Fonseca became the seventh different winner in the category. Ryan Kasner coming through in third. Ben Cooper getting up into the fourth spot ahead of Hayner late to wrap up the top five.
Yeah, Mardan pushed hard over the last couple of laps there to try to see, or last couple, because it didn't happen on the last lap, did it? No, there was a couple more laps afterwards. Yeah. So if Mardan was digging, tried to close up, but was so evenly matched. He made maybe made up a tenth here and there kind of thing. But Fonseca, of course, ended up with the almost half-second lead at the line. Mardan second, Kasner third, Cooper and Hayner, as you said. Big win for Fonseca, super happy. There were some guys that weren't overly happy with Charlie early on because he had a couple of incidents in the heat races that some guys complained about. But Mardan felt he was pretty bummed. He really wanted to win this one, and for one of the reasons, David, he wanted to dedicate the race win to Chubba Budasho, who we lost a number of weeks ago in an incident in Pittsburgh. He still dedicated his second place finish to Chubba, but again, I think just felt so gutted that he just came up that short.
Yeah, it's been tough for Mardan. Like I said, in that heat races there, and he won that one. And just a slight little pushback bumper, cost him that heat win. So he might have been able to start up a little bit closer. Still was in the hunt all week long. It's just so tough. Again, you talk Renato Jauregui, Ben Cooper, how many championships and wins they have.
Exactly.
Cooper, the two-time defending winner. Mardan was so close, as he said in the interview, I believe, either last year or a few years back, to be able to try and win this event. So again, it's very, very, Masters racers. This is the thing, man. We keep talking about all these kids that are coming up and now turning 30. Like, no shame in the game, man. It's some good racing. It's some hardcore racing, and you have to be at your best, or in Fonseca's case, be lucky and be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and the class acts are always high-fiving each other afterwards. I love watching the Masters guys roll into the scales at the end of a race. We already mentioned Mario Barrios, but let's dive into it here, folks. ROK VLR Supermasters, the race within the race. These drivers were part of that 34-kart Masters grid. Here is the headline: Barrios runs away with inaugural victory.
Yes, it was. It looked to be Scott Falcone in the role, the I guess the man on the box yelling for the man on the box yelling everybody to come race the category begin with coming into the event.
He was the Pied Piper for sure.
Pied Piper, yeah, that's a great analogy too. I was thinking Hamilton, but
there you go.
But yeah, so Falcone early on looked to be the driver to beat. A 43.793 led the way for the Supermasters driver. Again, in this combined two classes, one race group format. And Falcone was up front with the fast guys in the regular Masters class, winning the opening heat race for the Supermasters side of things ahead of Mario Barrios and Tim Mayer. Heat 2, however, Falcone won on racetrack, did not make it out of tech. An issue with the reed cage sent him to the back of the order, and that put Barrios at the top of the order. And that's the way it would go the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
Barrios winning Heat 3, Heat 4, and then essentially going wire to wire in the main event with a 4.7 margin of victory in the main event. He was kind of the guy watching the show happening up front. He was there early on, and then they kind of were able to pull away. He, again, still almost had the fast lap in the category, but still sat back and watched kind of the chaos that was happening in the regular Masters class. So, Barrios picking up the inaugural victory.
Yeah, other guys that were impressive during the heat races. Eric Jackson was in there. Alexander Delbon. You already mentioned Tim Meyer. Daryl Redlin finished third in one of the heat races. Joshua Daly finished second in heat race number 4. He flipped at heat race number 1. So he was the driver. You've seen that probably on social media. Hard wreck coming out of turn number 12. The in-car is available as well. The onboard shot. But yeah, he was able to bounce back there as well. Barrios does get the race win. The fight for second was pretty good between Tim Meyer and Eric Jackson. Meyer ended up coming away with it. Jackson finishing in third. Daly, I'm still saying after that flip early, able to come back to finish in fourth. And I want to say Miguel Mir may have had an issue in like one of the heat races to start deeper in the field. I think he did a good job. Miguel did working his way up into the top 5.
Yeah, if I recall, it might have been the last heat race he had an issue there. He actually started 9th in class and then worked his way up into the 5th spot.
There you go. And again, as you had said before, Mario Barrios, because he had done so well in the heat races, was able to start a little bit further up the order. Actually, was inside of row 2 with all the rest of his Supermasters compatriots further back in the field. So he was kind of able to get away with that initial group. Eventually, as you said, David, slipped back to P8 in that group up front. And that just gave him enough of an advantage early on that everybody else was kind of battling well back. A couple of the split categories for the Masters and Shifter Masters, one of them also being the ROK Shifter category. So let's go to Shifter Masters. And here's the headline. Hagenbuch gives GFC second straight in category.
Yeah, it was a sweep on the event for Hunter Hagenbuch. A fast time of 41.204 to lead the way in the class for the ROK Shifter Masters group, winning all 4 heat races comfortably. It didn't start that way in the main event as Luis Quinones actually pulled off the hole shot.
Yeah.
But lap 2, Hagenbuch was able to take back the lead, and from there lead the remainder of the race to take a 13-second victory for the ROK Shifter Masters class.
He was running right up there with the top Masters drivers, chasing those guys down. Hagenbuch went the win. Sergio Rodriguez in second, Luis Quinones in the third spot, and Jesus Lopez rounding out the top 4, the 4 drivers in the field. Let's go to ROK Shifter Supermasters on track at the same time. A lot of action through the heat races in this one for sure. But in the end, the headline is Woods takes inaugural victory.
Yeah, on paper, it was a sweep of the event for Kevin Woods, the Round White Racing driver. 40.675 led the overall qualifying session and wins in all 4 heat races. One of them was a little bit chaotic as he made contact with Patrick O'Neill, I want to say in heat number 3. I think O'Neill got the jump on him and came across his front nose.
As soon as O'Neill left the whole shot line, he drove straight across to try to get to the inside into the kink turn number 1 and just drove right into the side of Kevin.
Yep. But Woods was able to get back to the number 1 spot in class, so he was able to sweep all 4 rounds of the heat races, starting the main event from the pole position and got the whole shot win. O'Neill was third at the opening lap as Morin
Van Tak.
Morin Van Tak was there in second. O'Neill was actually able to get around him and kept the pressure on Woods. I mean, not close enough to make a move, but Woods definitely hurt him throughout the 23-lap main event as they would finish 1-2 for Ron White Racing, separated by just over half a second.
Yeah, it really was kind of 2 groups, right? It was Ron White Racing and Morin Van Tak's VTM Racing Engines group, which I thought was awesome. The CRG guys finished up front with Woods and O'Neill first and second. Van Tak put the pressure on O'Neill the entire time as well. He was really strong throughout the weekend. Those were kind of the top 3 drivers. And then Ryan Coberly had a really good run as well. Great start for Coberly. Got his way into 4th position. And he and Corey Matthews were able to hold that spot through both those drivers and Van Tak on their RS carts, all part of the same VTM Racing Engines team. So Van Tak 3rd, Coberly 4th, and Matthews rounds out the top 5. Good stuff there in the Masters, Super Masters, rather, shifter kart category.
Yeah, again, inaugural victory for Woods.
Folks, one more little segment here in the race report, then we'll wrap things up. When we get back after this break, we'll focus on the cadet drivers, ROK Mini and ROK Micro, up next.
I'm Ken Unger, president of Charge and a sponsorship strategist who's helped drivers and teams unlock sponsorship success for over 2 decades, from IndyCar and NASCAR to grassroots karting. In karting, horsepower is great, but sponsorship power, that's how you really move up the grid. Whether you're a parent fueling your driver's dreams or an 18-year-old ready to take the next step in your career, my sponsorship success method is your secret weapon. I'll show you how to build your brand, pitch like a pro, and turn maybe next year into let's sign today. Ready to land your first sponsor? Visit sponsorshipsuccessmethod.com and start your journey to sponsorship success today. That's sponsorshipsuccessmethod.com.
Let decades of experience and success lead you to the top of the podium. Join Brandon Jarsacrack Racing as your race team at the sport's major events in the United States. Brandon Jarsacrack is a 4-time United States Pro Kart Series champion, along with a multi-time SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and WKA Manufacturers Cup Series race winner. Jarsacrack is ranked among one of the best from his generation to get behind the wheel of a racing cart. BJR provides full race team service and support at all USPKS, SCUSA, and Stars Championship Series events, along with trackside programs at the Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Partnering with Mike Doty Racing, Brandon's team of driver coaches and mechanics are passionate for the sport, providing decades of experience both on the track and working with many of today's karting standouts and current motorsport stars. Brandon Jarsacrack Racing offers a full range of services, including kart preparation, driver coaching, and race event support for both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competitors. BJR is an official LN Racing Kart team with OTK USA and is an official offset sport race team. Contact them today to develop a program based around your needs. Head to BrandonJarsacrack.com to learn more. Back at it with the final segment here of the Race Report, brought to you by Ames Sports. The show today presented by Sodi Racing USA, episode number 158 of our EKN Debrief. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Coles. We continue to unpack all the action from this year's ROK Vegas event at the Rio Hotel and Casino Las Vegas. Let's move into the ROK Mini category, because I'll tell you this, the drivers in the cadet classes put on a show for sure. Here's your headline for ROK Mini. Macha takes career second ROK Vegas victory.
It was not as sweet, but it did feel like it with Maxwell Macha up front all week long. But the top driver in qualifying was Christian I can't say it.
We were struggling with it. I think I was saying Damianidis.
Sounds yeah.
Damianidis. Christian Damianidis. Privateer driver out of Canada. Puts it on the pole. Amazing stuff.
It was a great story after that session, a 45.568. Unfortunately for him, did not go well in the heat races, including the opening one where he did make contact with the barriers and had to pull off. So put him in that progressive format all the way to the back of the field throughout the rest of the heat races, and was just
it never got better.
Never able to work his way back up into the top 15. So tough one for him. So Macha led the way in the opening heat race and continued on through all 4 heat races as the top driver, starting the main event from the pole position with Santiago Orioli in second, Asher Pavan in third, Cameron Johnson in fourth, Lawrence Perriman in fifth, and then Luis Martinez starting from the 6th spot. Macha able to get away in the opening laps with the lead as they kind of battled for second. Pavan was actually there for a little bit with Perriman on his bumper. Finally, Perriman was able to get into the 2nd spot, and then Santiago Orioli followed through. They ran 1, 2, 3, trying to run down Macha there, but eventually Orioli took over the 2nd spot and became the lead driver. And they just weren't quite able to work together enough to be able to close in on Macha. Macha just a little bit better than those 2 drivers throughout the second half of the race. And that was it. Macha was able to drive unchallenged, essentially, to the checkered flag to score his 2nd career victory at ROK Vegas.
Yeah, big performance from Maxwell Macha, as you had said, comes to the heat race is the dominant factor. But again, in the main event, kind of had them all chasing him. Orioli did a great job to get himself forward. Perriman, Asher Pavan, and Hudson Hidalgo, the top 5. I'll give a shout out to all those drivers because that lead group is so much fun to watch for the longest time. They were slicing, dicing in and out. They were making passes everywhere. The mini drivers really put on a show for us for sure. But congratulations to Macha coming away with the win. Let's cap things off, David, with ROK Micro. Here's your headline. Westbrook comes from deep in the pack to win.
Deep indeed. That was probably one of the drives of the day.
I think so.
To really put a focal point on just exactly what he was able to do.
David, let me say this. Let me say this. In the driver introductions, I was doing my best to get the driver introductions done as fast as possible, because normally you get more time, but with like a 45-second warm up lap, like I was struggling to get everybody in. But once I got to Westbrook at 15th, I said, trust me, this kid's going to be up front. We're going to be talking about Dutch Westbrook before it's all said and done. He definitely made me look good. So shout out to Dutch on that one. You roll into qualifying here.
Well, I was just going to look at that because I don't really know the full story of why he was there.
I know
in the back. What happened? Obviously, we had the progressive heats throughout everything, but if you look at
you start going, I'll jump.
Yeah,
on
you recap it. Thanks.
I'll dive in on here on it.
No, I thought you were going to recap the class.
I was going to go. You want me to? I can recap the class.
Please,
you go.
I can't talk right now.
You are struggling. Alvaro Medeiros, top driver, with a pole position run of 46.228, but not surprising. A lot of the drivers we've talked about throughout the year kind of worked their way to the front. Liam Francisco was the driver who came away with the opening heat race. Jack Katowski again up into third. Lennox Lockhart, Katowski in second, Lennox Lockhart in third. And again, one of the drivers, what we talked about, remember the progressive nature of the heats. Where you finish the heat is where you would move your way forward. Rittering had some issues in qualifying. I don't know what it was, but started deep in the field in 31st. But he drove all the way up into 6th. So a big run for Rittering to fight, to put himself in the middle of the fight in that opening heat race. So he starts 6th in heat race number 2. Lennox Lockhart steps up. He had a lot of pace on the weekend, finishes in seconds with the win. Alvaro Medeiros finishing in second. Rittering then moves to third. So 31st to 6th, 6th to third, third to second, behind Lockhart in heat race number 3. Second to first, he wins heat race number 4. So he started 31st of the first heat race, worked his way forward, ends up winning heat race number 4 ahead of Lockhart and Medeiros. That puts him from after qualifying 31st on the outside of the front row for the main event alongside Lockhart. And again, it was Chase Rittering, a breakout weekend for him, no doubt about that. Medeiros ends up in third for the start of the race inside of row number 2 alongside Francisco. Axel Tibbs and Bo Wyatt, both those drivers very consistent through the heat races, David. They would start on row number 3. What do you got on Westbrook?
So heat 2 was essentially the deciding factor, and actually included Jack Katowski, who you mentioned in the opening heat race. So both Katowski and Westbrook were disqualified for excessive grease on the clutch. So they started heat number 3 from the tail of the field. Westbrook able to get up to 11th, Katowski 10th in the third round of heat races. Westbrook ended up finishing in 9th after crossing the line in third. He got a penalty for contact. And I think where did Katowski finish? Katowski finished 5th. So those two drivers both moved up from heat 2 DQs to kind of keep themselves in contention going into the main events. Because let's see, Katowski started from the inside of row 6, and as we mentioned, Dutch Westbrook starting from P15.
Yeah, listen, the start of the race was fantastic. Not surprisingly, Lockhart and Rittering locked up, and they were ready to go. But we quickly I quickly put my eye on Westbrook, because after mentioning him in the intro, I think I went back a couple laps in to see where he got to, and I want to say he was already up like +7 to 8 or something like that very early on. I'm like, man, this kid's on the move already. And then he started reeling him in, and he was definitely the guy on the move, 100%.
Yeah, he was the guy on the move and got to the lead by lap 12. That's all it took. Lockhart responded, took the lead for one corner, and Westbrook came right back, regaining the lead. And then in that same move, Rittering was able to take over the second spot, and that was just a little bit of enough of a gap for Westbrook to drive off to the checkered flag unchallenged, scoring the victory by just under 1 second.
Yeah, impressive win for the Bennick driver, Dutch Westbrook. Rittering on the Croc promotion, finishing in second. Lockhart on the Sodi kart in third. Medeiros, the top qualifier on the Tony, finishing in the 4th spot. And Aiden Go was in the middle of the fight throughout the race day as well. Strong there in the main event. On the parallel, capping off your top 5. That caps off the race report. Folks, one more segment when we get back after this break. We'll wrap things up. We'll look at the Constructors' Championship. And you know what? There's only one more race on the EKN Trackside Live race calendar. We'll talk about that after this. this break. Winning takes top quality equipment, flawless preparation, experienced coaching, and passion. And at Team GFC, we live our passion. Developed by American karting champion Gary Carlton, the GFC chassis has become one of the newest brands to reach the top of the podium in North America. GFC has garnered victories and championships at all levels of the sport since its debut at the end of 2018. Shifter car drivers are at the front of the field in the GT14 frame, with the SS31 a consistent contender in tag and 100cc competition. Team GFC has arrive and drive packages available for all categories, including the mini and micro classes utilizing the GFC RR5 cadet chassis. These young pilots have the opportunity to be part of the Team GFC Young Driver Development Program. Learn from one of the best American karters with 28 years racing at the highest levels in the sport, offering personalized training on and off the track. Follow GFC Karting on Facebook and Instagram, or click over to gfckarting.com to learn more about joining Team GFC. GFC, live your passion. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by 5-time Super National champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Phoenix, Arizona facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce high-performance, long-lasting karts that have been designed and perfected from years of development. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product as Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Join the Factory Karts official race team this season, hitting the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and Pro Kart Challenge, along with the new Southwest Super Series program. Full trackside support for Factory Kart competitors is available, along with arrive and drive programs and tent space housed under our new race team hauler that debuted at Super Nationals 27. Remember when American made meant more innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American Made is back. Contact Factory Karts today to join the American Made movement. Learn more by visiting factorykarts.com or email info@factorykarts.com. Back at it to cap off this edition of the EKN Debrief, episode number 158, capping off and wrapping up our ROK Vegas coverage for 2025. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. David, I mentioned this in the broadcast right at the very end, just as you will right now. In the wrap-up, let's start things off.
Yeah, no red flags on the week. We did see multiple flips, multiple hard hits into the walls across I guess they measured it to just about 0.7 of a mile, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
But yeah, no red flags out. We did have a corner worker needing medical attention after getting hit by
David Cole to the rescue.
Yeah, scary situation. The LCQ for VLR senior, Jason Brown getting hit by karts, not knowing. He thought he was off the racetrack, wasn't off the racetrack. Luckily, scrapes and bruises and egos were damaged, but nobody's seriously hurt in that really scary situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the flips, drivers able to walk away. I don't know of any major injuries, just some scrapes, some bumps and bruises, but overall, again, good to have no red flags on a temporary circuit with over 300 entries.
I was going to add that, but you did perfectly. Yeah, no red flags. We like that at any racetrack, but on a temp circuit, my goodness. So yeah, I mentioned that at the very end of the broadcast as well. We always wait to the very end. So that was fantastic. Now you've got down here, you like the format, maybe not the progressive heat races.
Yeah, I don't know. I prefer, qualifying. You start your heat races, but when you do go into 4 rounds of heat races, that's a lot of racing, which was, again, I like that.
Yep.
I like to see more racing happening rather than practice days or practice sessions. Nobody needs practice. We want racing.
Let's just go. Exactly right.
So I do like that. It would be tough to kind of interesting to see like I mentioned in the SV, like you could screw up heat 4. It didn't matter because that was the last one in the progression.
Yeah.
But again, if say, you look at the Westbrook or the Katowski we just talked about in micro, they had issues in heat number 2. So they had to work extra double in heats 3 and 4 to be able to get back up in close to contention.
Well, but the thing is, David, if you think like, okay, so the way I approached the CKNA race this year, right, running in Legends in our progressive heats was like I stayed out of trouble. Like I wasn't as aggressive as I probably could have been, or maybe had been in years past, because I didn't want to get taken out and go to the back like I had in years past. So do the progressive? You'd think that the progressive heat races would kind of play to patience. Maybe you don't make the mistake, because if you get a DNF and finish 34th, you're starting 34th for the next race, so you get a double hit in the face. So.
And that's what we saw in SV, in my opinion. I think with the 50 drivers on the racetrack, progressive heat, it was chaos, and it shouldn't have been.
No,
I think if they would have been broken up into like the VLR junior and senior with the ABCD heat format, I think it would have been a little bit easier and more professional with racing in that category.
And David, you would have had 24 kart grids, right? Because you would have had 4 groups of 12, one with 13. You would have had 24, 25 kart grids. So yeah, it might have been maybe a little cleaner, because you want the Pro Caliber SV Pro to be that marker that this is how good it can be. And it to a certain extent, it wasn't that. Up front was fun racing, but in the back,
let's be honest, to a certain extent, micro's that.
True. Micro were the only ones that were like actually doing race strategy, like trying to drop the guy off the back of the peloton. Hey, let's work together. Nobody worked together all weekend. It was flipping hilarious. Like nobody wanted to work together at all. I thought it was funny.
But just like I said, just measuring under maybe 7/10 of a set or 7/10 of a mile. The layout was shorter and faster. As we said, good reviews. They said it wasn't bumpy. We didn't hear a lot of people complaining about pain going over bumps, so that was good. Yeah. A few complaints when racing did started. I think, guys would. I don't know. They thought there wasn't an opportunity to pass, but from the sideline, it looked like there were plenty of opportunities to pass. I think
4 good places to overtake in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. And so again, when guys run defensive line, it makes it nearly impossible to pass. So I get that, but that's not the lines guys should be running. And again, we should get more of the bump and goes if they do the defensive lines. So it's kind of finding that gray area of what's going to work and what's not.
Let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship, David, as there was 9 brands scoring wins over the 11 categories. So good stuff. Let's run through the brands that actually came away with victories.
Yeah, very, very diverse on Sunday at ROK Vegas. GFC and Cosmic, the only brands to double up with 2 wins apiece, and the rest were just 1 win. We have Sodi Kart, CS55, Burrell Art, Ellen Racing Kart, CRG, Parolin, and Bennick all picking up wins on Sunday.
Big stuff. All right, let's wrap things up, folks. Our final EKN Trackside Live race calendar of the 2025 season today, presented by Rollison Performance Group. At the Rollison Performance Group, we strive for ultimate success. We're more than just an arrive and drive race team with countless wins on the national and regional level. Our focus is on complete driver development, and that's where the success is fueled. We combine one-on-one coaching, on-track instruction, and intensive data debriefing with unparalleled kart and engine prep. Our program will help raise your game. Pardon me. Our program will help you raise your game. Man, I'm tired too. We'll take you to the next level. If that's your goal, RPG needs to be your next move. Experience the Rollison difference.
Don't worry, I was coughing my head off.
I was hearing you back there. David's having an out-of-body experience while I'm trying to knock out the RPG read. Good stuff. Yes, folks, 1 race left. And again, that's why I think David and I are kind of out of gas. David, of course, for sure. I do want my work with the USF Pro Championships as well. But David, what are you? I think 19 race weekends this year, I believe, for you. 17, 19, something like that.
Yeah, and then I got to go to Chicago this weekend for my son's 18th birthday. So yeah, just a lot going on. December is looking really good. But first,
yes.
First, we have to hit the big one.
November 12th to the 16th, the Superkarts USA Super Nationals 28, Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. We head back out to Harry Reid International Airport. We'll be there on Monday. So leaving here in just under a week, back out there for a week in Las Vegas for the big one. the Super Nationals, 28th edition of the event. Looking forward to the event for sure. It's going to be big. David, I think you threw a number out at me that you got from SCUSA. It's going to be a big one for sure.
582, I think.
Wow.
So
Man.
we're there. Yeah, I don't know the numbers off the top. Very similar to last year.
Yeah.
Big numbers across the way. Big names. Interesting combinations and what categories they're racing. Some late minute entries that we learned about on Sunday.
Yeah.
Some cool stories to kind of, again, like we talked about with the ROK Vegas Paddock Insider. We're going to have a bunch of news and notes once we get trackside on November 11th with all the interesting things that are going to be playing out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, looking forward to connecting again with Xander Clemens and the whole Kart Chaser crew. They'll have the live broadcast, of course. I'll be in the booth to cover call my 28th edition of the event. Again, thinking back to that race at the Rio back in 2002. But of course, starting it all off in 1997, 98, 99, out at the what was then what was it? I think it was Race City, something. I think a Race Kart City. I think in 97. Then it was Las Vegas Karting Center, maybe in 1998. Eventually became the Xplex as well. But that track out there, a lot of history at the event before moving into Las Vegas. Of course, now out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the last now 3 years. So yeah, looking forward to the broadcast, looking forward to the coverage, and capping off this year. Dave, it's been a long one, as we had said.
Race Kart City.
There it is.
Raceway.
Race Kart City Raceway. Okay.
4 words. There you go.
And then I think it was Las Vegas Karting Center the next year.
Correct.
I think, for 98, maybe 99 and 2000. Interesting. I can't remember.
2001.
When was Xplex?
Oh, that's right. They did rebrand. Yeah, I forgot. Let me maybe verify that.
That's good. I'm not sure if the last race there in 2001 was Xplex or not.
It was still Las Vegas Karting Center. I think when Gators and Challenge of the Americas went, that's when it became
the Rotax, the US Rotax Grand Nationals were there as well. Yep, for sure. I can remember because I can remember the article of Jordan Musser winning that one. So good stuff for sure. We're looking forward to getting out there. That'll cap off the season, as David had said. We're ready to get back from the Super Nationals, wrap up a debrief, wrap up all the race reports, and take a deep breath and have a bit of a breather until the Winter Series gets rolling in January. David, that wraps things up, though, from ROK Vegas. My first trip, there's been 8 of them. My first trip was this year. And I'll say this, a big shout out to Luis Rabal, Mike Burrell, everybody from ROK Cup USA, because fantastic people to work with. That was just a ton of fun. And from my side as well, worked with Jason and the crew in the live broadcast. Those guys did a great job. What a fantastic group of guys. And man, they were on their stuff. I thought the coverage was fantastic.
Yeah, and everything's going to lead up to 2026 with the Florida Winter Tour. That's going to be happening starting in January 16th through the 19th. So not that far away from 2026 for ROK Cup USA.
There you have it, folks. That caps things off for our EKN trackside coverage of this year's ROK Vegas 2025. Big thank you to Sodi Racing USA for being the sponsor of today's EKN Debrief, episode number 158. Again, Tuesday, November the 4th. Travel back on the Monday, as always. And now we take a breath, and guess what, folks? Right around the corner, here they come. Superkarts USA, Super Nationals preview articles from David Cole. We'll be banging out a couple of Outlet preview podcasts this week as well, as we will make our predictions and decide what we're going to do moving forward for this weekend, or this race, kind of fill you in on all the drivers who are coming to Las Vegas for one more kick at the can. The Super Nationals 28 up next. Thanks, folks, for tuning into this edition of the Debrief. We appreciate it. On behalf of David Cole and everybody from ROK Cup USA, my name's Rob Howden. Bye.